I'm Evelyn Harper, 75, and I drove 600 miles through a blinding snowstorm, my arthritic hands gripping the wheel, to surprise my son with a homemade apple pie for his 45th birthday. My heart raced with hope, picturing his smile in their Hartford home. But when I arrived, soaked and shivering, I overheard him and his wife laughing, wishing I'd get lost or stop calling. Their cruel words shattered me, unveiling a web of lies and financial betrayal. That moment sparked a fire. I wasn't just a mother anymore. I was a woman reclaiming her worth. The journey began in the pre-dawn chill of Concord, New Hampshire, where I'd lived alone since my husband George passed 10 years ago. My Cape Cod-style home, with its white clapboard and rose garden, held memories of better days. George teaching Daniel to cast a fishing line, us dancing to Sinatra in the kitchen. But those memories felt like ghosts now, fading as my relationship with Daniel grew colder. He and his wife Sarah lived in Hartford, Connecticut, a 6-hour drive on a good day. Their calls were short, their visits rare, always punctuated by excuses, work deadlines, the kids' soccer games, or vague plans. Last Thanksgiving, they'd gone to Florida, posting beach selfies while I ate turkey alone, my dining table set for one. Still, I clung to hope, sending knitted blankets, $500 0 cents, birthday checks, and jars of peach jam, believing love could bridge the distance. Daniel's 45th birthday felt like a chance to reclaim that closeness. I'd planned the surprise for weeks, waking at 3 a.m. to bake the apple pie, his favorite since boyhood. The recipe was my mother's, perfected with a touch of bourbon and a buttery, hand-crimped crust. I peeled Granny Smith apples until my wrists ached, each slice a labor of love. The pie sat in a carrier on the passenger seat, nestled between pillows. My neighbor, Margaret, stood at our fence as I loaded the car. "Evelyn, it's 600 miles in a storm," she said. "Your arthritis can't handle that." I waved her off. "It's not the Pony Express, Margaret. I've got the Interstate and ibuprofen." She handed me a thermos of coffee. "Call me when you get there." I left at 4:30 a.m., the radio humming Nat King Cole. Snow started falling outside Concord, then became a relentless curtain slashing my windshield. The wipers squeaked, each swipe mirroring the throbbing in my knees. My Subaru gripped the road, but visibility dropped to taillights. I hunched forward, knuckles white, arthritis flaring. "You should have listened to Margaret," I muttered, popping ibuprofen dry. But Daniel's grin when he saw the pie kept me going. I imagined him hugging me, Sarah saying, "Mom, you didn't have to." The fantasy warmed me against the chill seeping through my coat. A 600-mile drive was a test. Snow plows roared past, spraying slush. Trucks loomed, their wake blinding me. I slowed to 45 miles per hour, my back spasming. At a Massachusetts rest stop, 300 miles in, I winced as my knees protested. The fluorescent bathroom smelled of bleach. I rubbed Bengay into my joints, the menthol mixing with the ache. A young attendant, Tina, handed me a paper towel. "Long drive?" she asked. "Halfway to Hartford," I said, grimacing. "Storm's getting worse," she warned. But waiting wasn't an option. Daniel's birthday dinner was that evening. I hadn't told them I was coming. The surprise was the point. The dashboard clock read 10:15 a.m., 300 miles to go. The snow drummed the roof. I turned up the heat, my gloves steaming. To distract from the pain, I recalled Daniel's childhood. At 6, beaming over a model train set. At 16, stargazing with my homemade telescope. When had things changed? After George's death, when grief made me cling? Or when Sarah's country club lifestyle made my home seem quaint? The shift was gradual, like snow piling up. Connecticut's border appeared, traffic crawling past a jackknife's truck. My GPS added 45 minutes, pushing arrival to mid-afternoon. My body complained. Neck stiff, fingers numb. But I'd driven through ice for Daniel's hockey, floods for his graduation. A snowstorm wouldn't stop me. Hartford's suburbs emerged, Daniel's street lined with manicured lawns, their 4,000-square-foot Tudor glowed. I parked across the street, keeping the surprise. Lifting the pie, I checked its crust and stepped into the snow. The 30-foot walk left me drenched, boots squelching. The door was unlocked. I stepped into the foyer, snow pooling, the air rich with garlic and rosemary. Sarah's cooking. The house was a showcase, mahogany console, abstract art, family photos excluding me. My footprints marred the hardwood. Laughter drifted from the dining room, Daniel's chuckle mingling with Sarah's giggle. I moved closer, rehearsing my entrance. Happy birthday, sweetheart. Then I heard my name. Mom left another voicemail, Daniel said, sharp. Second one this week, Sarah sighed. What does she want now? I froze, the pie trembling. To talk for an hour about nothing, Daniel said. To guilt trip us. My breath caught. At least she didn't show up, Sarah said. Remember last year? Hovering. Daniel laughed. If only she'd get lost for a month. No more dodging her calls. Sarah's voice turned sly. Or better, if she'd just stopped calling. Their laughter was poison. Time stopped. I saw Daniel's eyes flicker, Sarah's hand at her throat. I set the pie on the counter, turned and walked out, their voices. Mom, wait! Fading. Back in my car, snow cloaking the windshield, I started the engine. I'd driven 600 miles for love, only to find betrayal. I didn't look back as their figures shrank in the rear view. The pie left like my broken heart. A snowstorm swallowed my Subaru as I drove 30 miles to a motel. Its vacancy signed a lifeline. The room smelled of mildew, the radiator humming. Daniel's words, if only she'd get lost, and Sarah's, if she'd just stop calling, looped in my mind. My clothes clung, knees throbbed. My phone buzzed. 6 missed calls, 10 texts from Daniel and Sarah. Mom, you misunderstood. One read. I silenced it. Too raw for their excuses. I'd been Daniel's safety net, co-signing leases, sending checks. Last year, Sarah mentioned a kitchen renovation, my help with credit. I'd assumed it was minor. Their cruelty suggested otherwise. By 2 a.m., sleep eluded me. In the bathroom's harsh light, I barely recognized my hollow-eyed reflection. A question took root. What else had I missed? At dawn, I drove to a diner. Its warmth a contrast to the storm. Over coffee, I called Margaret. I heard them, Margaret, I said, laughing, wishing I'd disappear. Those ungrateful... Where are you? Near Hartford. I'm not going back. Come home, she said. I've got bourbon. The jukebox played Johnny Cash. I called my bank. Mrs. Harper, how can I help? Asked Linda. Any accounts where I'm a guarantor, I said. A pause, then a gut punch. 4 credit cards, $60,000, 0 cents total. A $25, 0 cents loan. A home equity guarantee on their $800, 0 cents tutor. The oldest card's 8 years old, Linda said. Latest 6 months ago. 6 months ago, Daniel claimed their business was tight. I'd offered cash, he'd taken my credit instead. 8 years. They'd used me while dodging my calls, skipping holidays, laughing at my voicemails. I thought of George's $1,500,000 0 cents estate. Our home, investments, my mother's pearls, meant for Daniel. Don't let him lean too hard, George had said. I'd failed that promise. I needed Clara, my lawyer friend. I called her from the diner. Evelyn, you sound awful, she said. I need you, I said. It's Daniel. And money. Meet me at my Hartford hotel at 3 p.m., she ordered. In Clara's hotel lobby, I clutched my bank notes. They've been bleeding you dry, she said, reviewing the $60,000. 0 cents cards, $25, 0 cents loan, $800, 0 cents guarantee. It's a strategy. She called Tom, her banking law partner. The cards are easy, Tom said. Notify issuers to remove your name. The loan's terms may shift. The house could trigger a refinance or sale. Their credit drops, Clara said. I nodded their laughter. But, Len, you're just so smart. I mean, who's got this pastel fueling me? We drafted letters to credit card companies, the bank, the mortgage lender. I signed, my fingers steady. Clara suggested closing old joint accounts. For the will, I chose the Veterans Charity over Daniel. The house, stocks, pearls, all of it, I said. Clara drafted, leaving Daniel my recipe box and George's journals. Poetic, she smiled. Daniel called at 6:30 p.m. You misunderstood, he stammered. I heard you. I said, I'm giving you the space you wanted. I hung up, blocked his number, then Sarah's. Clara booked me a 90-minute flight to Manchester, New Hampshire. In a better hotel, I dreamed of George's rods, Daniel's smile, a rotting pie. At the airport, I told Margaret I cut them off. About damn time, she laughed. The flight showed a snowy New England below. Landing, I felt unburdened. Margaret drove me home, my house welcoming. George's rods, dormant roses. Paul, my advisor, confirmed my $1,500,000 0 cents estate. Daniel's frantic voicemails, our cards are frozen, was deleted. Clara texted, mortgage lender next, expect chaos. I poured wine, sat by the fire, free of their chains. The fire in my Concord home crackled as I sipped wine, the weight of my decisions settling like the soft snow outside. I'd severed the financial cords binding me to Daniel and Sarah, $60,000 0 cents in credit cards, a $25 0 cents loan, and an $800 0 cents home equity guarantee, all gone with a few signatures. Their betrayal, laughing that I'd get lost after my 600-mile drive to deliver a birthday pie, had shattered my illusions. But Clara's legal precision had set me free. I'd rewritten my $1,500,000 0 cents will for a veterans charity, blocked their frantic calls, and flown 90 minutes back to New Hampshire, leaving their chaos behind. Now, in my Cape Cod house with Mr. Whiskers purring beside me, I wasn't just surviving, I was rebuilding, planting seeds for a life rooted in self-respect and joy. The first morning back, I woke to sunlight filtering through my lace curtains, the rose garden outside dormant but promising spring. My arthritis ached, but my heart felt lighter, unburdened by Daniel's expectations. Margaret arrived with her promised bourbon and a fierce hug. You're a warrior, Evelyn, she said, pouring us shots despite the 10 a.m. hour. What's next? I smiled, surprising myself. Living, I said, for me. That day, I drove to the Concord Community Center. A flyer caught my eye. Pottery for beginners, Thursdays at 2 p.m. I signed up, picturing clay under my fingers, a new way to create without giving myself away. The $40 0 cents fee felt like a declaration, my first investment in a future I'd shape. Pottery class became my sanctuary. The instructor, Lila, a 60-year-old artist with turquoise earrings, guided us through centering clay on the wheel. My first mug was lopsided, but Lila grinned. Imperfection's the point, Evelyn. It's yours. The other students, retirees, a young nurse, a quiet veteran, became fast friends. We laughed over wobbly bowls, shared coffee from a thermos, and swapped stories of grandkids and old loves. For the first time since George's death, I felt part of something. Not a mother or widow, but Evelyn, the woman who could still learn. My mugs, glazed in earthy greens, lined my kitchen shelf, each a small victory over the pain of Daniel's words. Outside class, I turned to my garden. The rose bushes, George's pride, were enough for years, but I wanted something new. At the local nursery, I bought lavender seedlings, their scent sharp and soothing. I spent a weekend digging a 5x 10-foot bed behind the house, my knees protesting but my spirit soaring. Margaret helped, her hands as gnarled as mine. This'll outbloom their fancy lake house, she quipped, nodding toward the seedlings. Each plant, spaced 18 inches apart, was a promise to myself, to the earth, to a life no one could take. By summer, I imagined purple waves swaying, a view I'd earned without a dime from Daniel's schemes. My community grew too. The Veterans Charity, now the beneficiary of my $1,500,000 0 cents estate, welcomed me as a volunteer. I sorted donations, served coffee at their weekly breakfasts, and listened to stories. Soldiers who'd lost limbs, families, hope, yet rebuilt. Their resilience mirrored mine. And I found purpose in small acts, restocking shelves, knitting scarves for their winter drive. One veteran, Sam, a 68-year-old Marine with a gentle laugh, became a friend. "You're a force, Evelyn," he said. Over pancakes, admiring my potter's calluses, I blushed, unused to compliments that saw me, not my sacrifices. These connections, Lila, Sam, the pottery crew, were my chosen family, built on respect, not obligation. Daniel and Sarah's world unraveled. Clara's updates confirmed the fallout. Their credit cards, stripped of my guarantee, were declined at restaurants, gas stations, even their kids' soccer camp. The $25,000 0 cents rate spiked, swallowing their budget. The lake house deal collapsed when their mortgage lender, spooked by my withdrawal, demanded a refinance they couldn't afford. A letter arrived from Sarah, her handwriting shaky. "We were joking, Mom," she wrote. "We're drowning. Please help. The kids need you." The plea stirred old instincts, but I saw it for what it was: manipulation, not remorse. I filed the letter away, unanswered, and poured myself into pottery, shaping a vase that held my strength, not their excuses. My resolve was tested when Lisa, Daniel's sister, called. Lisa, 42, lived in Boston, a social worker who'd stayed close despite Daniel's distance. "I heard what happened," she said, her voice soft. "I'm sorry, Mom, they're a mess. Cars cut off, house at risk." I braced for a lecture, but she continued, "I'm proud of you. You deserved better." Her words were a balm, easing a guilt I hadn't named. Then she hesitated. "Daniel's expecting a baby, a girl due in June." My heart caught. "A grandchild, a new life." "Does he know you're telling me?" I asked. "No," she admitted. "He's too proud to reach out." I thanked her, hung up, and sat by my lavender bed, the seedlings barely sprouting. That night, I wrote a card. "A baby changes everything, Daniel. My door's open if you want a relationship built on respect, not money." I mailed it, expecting no reply. I felt peace in the act. I'd offered love, but not at my expense. Concords Rhythms became my own. I hosted potlucks, my dining table alive with laughter, not the silence of last Thanksgiving. Neighbors brought casseroles. Sam brought his guitar, strumming Dylan. My pottery mugs held cider, their imperfections sparking stories. I joined a book club, rediscovering Austen's sharp wit, and took walks along the Merrimack River, 2 miles from home. My knees steadier with each step. Mr. Whiskers claimed my lavender bed as his throne, batting at bees while I laughed, free from the weight of Daniel's calls. My phone, once a tether to their demands, now buzzed with texts from Lila. "New glaze tonight?" And "Margaret, bourbon incandescent. With this newfound freedom, my financial security remained intact." Paul, my investment advisor, confirmed that my $1,500,000 0 cents estate, comprising my $400,000 0 cents in stocks and $200 0 cents in savings, along with heirlooms like my mother's pearl necklace, was secure in my new independent accounts. The Veterans Charity, aware of their future windfall, sent a heartfelt thank you note for my volunteering, and I smiled, envisioning the lives my estate would touch. Daniel and Sarah's attempts to contact me dwindled, their desperation fading into silence. Clara, ever vigilant, warned they might consider legal action, but she'd ensured my position was unassailable. No grounds, Evelyn. Bulletproof. I trusted her expertise, turning my focus to my latest pottery project, a wide bowl for bread dough, its smooth curve a testament to my hands' newfound strength. By spring, my lavender bed burst into bloom, its sharp, soothing scent drifting through my open windows. I was 76, no longer the woman who'd driven 600 miles seeking approval, but one who'd forged a life from the ashes of betrayal. The veterans' breakfast, the hum of the pottery wheel, and the warmth of potluck nights anchored me, proof I could thrive without Daniel's love. Lisa's call about the baby lingered as a faint hope held lightly. If Daniel ever reached out, I'd listen, but only on my terms. Respect, not dollars. As I glazed a new mug, its deep blue mirroring the Merrimack River, I knew this was my time, my story, my home. The snow of that Hartford night had melted, replaced by a garden of my own making. My 76th birthday arrived with June's warmth, and I threw a garden party, my rose bushes and lavender aglow under the golden sun. 20 friends filled my Cape Cod home, their laughter drowning out the ghosts of last Thanksgiving solitude. Sam strummed, blowing in the wind on his guitar. Lila brought a handcrafted pottery vase from my table, and Margaret raised a bourbon toast to Evelyn, who showed 'em all. I served apple pie spiked with bourbon, a nod to the one I'd left in Hartford, now a symbol of my boldness. My mugs, glazed in river blues, held cider, their imperfections sparking compliments from guests. Mr. Whiskers weaved through legs, claiming scraps, while I stood amid my roses, feeling whole for the first time in years. Daniel and Sarah's texts had ceased. Their financial woes declined. Cards, a lost lake house, no longer my burden. Clara confirmed their mortgage refinance had failed. They'd listed their tutor for sale, a final unraveling of their carefully curated facade. A last letter from Sarah, pleading for Grandma's help with the baby, arrived, but I left it unanswered. I'd extended an olive branch with my card, but their silence spoke volumes, choosing their path. Lisa, Daniel's sister, sent a photo of my newborn granddaughter, born in June, her tiny hand curled like a promise. "She's beautiful, Mom," Lisa wrote. "Maybe one day." I tucked the photo into George's journal, a hope I wouldn't chase but would carry quietly. My legacy was alive in the here and now. In the veterans shelter where I poured coffee for Sam and others, there's stories of resilience echoing my own. In my lavender bed, buzzing with bees and scented with freedom. In my pottery, each piece a narrative of my strength. Paul insured my $1,500,000 0 cents estate home. Stocks, pearls would secure the charity's future. A gift to those rebuilding as I had. I walked the Merrimack River's 2-mile path daily. My knees stronger, my heart steady. Book club debates over Austen's wit and potlucks with neighbors filled my nights, replacing Daniel's absence with a joy I'd earned. As I baked a new pie, its crust flakier, its bourbon bolder, snow fell outside. Not the storm of that Hartford night, but a gentle promise of renewal. At 76, I'd learned self-respect wasn't selfish, it was survival. Daniel's family might one day return, but my door demanded respect, not dollars. Surrounded by my garden, my mugs, my chosen kin, I was Evelyn Harper, free to live, love, and bake for myself. This was my recipe now, and it was enough.